All right, good evening. Welcome everyone to our regular board meeting. We're gonna call the meeting to order and we're gonna start with our land acknowledgement. I'm gonna have Maddie read that.
We honor the first peoples of these lands by acknowledging that the area in which we gather is within the traditional territory of the Stillaguamish tribe of Indians. The Stillaguamish people have inhabited these lands and waters since time immemorial, and their ancestors have remained in this territory to this day. The Stillaguamish people have continued to practice the traditional ways of their ancestors of fishing, hunting, and gathering. The Stillaguamish tribe has had these lands and cultural traditions passed on to them by their ancestors who believe that everything has a spirit and that they are caretakers of these lands and waters.
Thank you. Next, we'll have our pledge of allegiance. Alex will lead that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, next up, we have our roll call attendance. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Watts.
Aye.
President Levesque. Here. Director Knapp.
Present.
Student Advisor Van Beek. Here. Student Advisor Phillips. Here. Superintendent Sweet. Here. Thank you. Next up, we have our approval of our regular meeting agenda. And there is a change that someone is going to make a motion about.
I make a motion, we pull the revised continuity of operations plan from consent agenda.
I'll second.
And move it to our next meeting. June.
It's been moved by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Watts to pull L, our revised continuity of operations plan from our consent agenda and bring it to a future meeting. Madam Clerk. Oh. As amended, do we? Director Kelly second, by Director Watts. Okay. To approve the agenda with the change. Okay.
That's fine. I'll second.
Director Diamond.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Watts.
Aye.
President Levesque. Yes. Director Knapp. Aye. Okay, so our agenda is approved with that slight change. Thank you, Brenda, for keeping us straight. We have our next part of our regular meeting is our approval of our minutes. We have two sets of minutes. We have our study session and regular meeting minutes from May 26th. Any changes, or do we have a motion to approve May 26th meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the study session and regular meeting on the May 26th.
Sounds like. It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Knapp to approve the May 26th meeting minutes. Madam Clerk. Director Diamond?
Yes.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Director Watts?
Yes.
President Levesque? Yes. Director Knapp?
Yes.
And we have a motion to approve the special board meeting minutes from June.
Make a motion, we approve the special board meeting minutes from June 2nd.
I'll second those.
Been moved by Director Knapp and seconded by Director Diamond to approve the June 2nd special meeting minutes. Diamond?
Aye.
Director Kelly?
Aye.
Director Watts?
Aye.
President Levesque?
Yes.
Director Knapp? Yes. Okay, the meeting minutes are approved. And that brings us to a very fun part of our evening. It's our presentation portion of our meeting. We're so excited to welcome our post-middle school 6th grade math stock mark unit. And we'd like to present Leslie Olson, our principal, with Amy Johnson and some math students. Come on down. Welcome.
Good evening. Before I pass the baton over to Ms. Johnson and our students, I want to share that one of the priorities as I look at curriculum and work with teachers is really bringing in real life world opportunities for students to apply their knowledge through cross-curricular projects and really to increase engagement. We don't just want to empty the funds, right? We want kids to experience and learn from them. And so it's been really exciting to see that pop up through some cross-curricular work. and new tasks we're doing. And Amy is always being creative. I'm so thankful for what she brings to the table. But she joined up with a stock market activity, and I'm really excited to share this work and what they did, but really how this is real relevant. These are sixth grade students get to experience real world things and engagement. So Ms. Johnson, okay, can you? All right. Is there a clicker?
This should be right there.
Right here? Okay, I'm Amy Johnson, teach at Post. And so this originally started out as a collaborative project with Tracy Austin, who's a sixth grade ELA teacher. She would teach children of the Dust Bowl, and then she would do stock market afterwards. So what I did is I would teach the intro to the stock market, kind of get the kids understanding the background, and then this year I decided to pull up and do the stock market game, which I had experience in when I worked in Lake Washington School District. So I'll just talk about what the stock market game is, why I do it, and how we did, because I was really proud of the kids. So the stock market game, what they do is they give the students or the groups $100,000, not real, of course, and they can buy stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. We just stayed with stocks because I thought mutual funds and bonds might be a little too much. So our PTSA ended up covering the cost of the teams because it was $10 a team. So what we did is we did an initial 3 lessons. First one was needs versus wants, and then what's the difference between stock market and savings accounts. Then we went into how to read stock tables and ticker symbols and that. And then finally, we talked about the big crash in 29 and what kind of led into it and what's changed. And so every Friday, once they started the game, they would check their stock portfolios to see how they were doing. And then they would decide any changes, purchases, or sell-offs that they needed to do. And then I did decide to have them do a portfolio at the end where they listed the stocks they purchased, what goods and services those stocks or those companies did for the people of the United States, and why did they pick those ones? Most of them were because they were familiar to the kids, and what they would change if they did the game again. So I like to do this, and I've always done some kind of financial literacy in all the years I've taught because American citizens are not always financially literate. And I remember being taught finances when I was in school, but it seems like now it's kind of gone by the wayside because of other concepts that are put in there. And people who are not financially literate often carry more debt. They're not as participatory in the economies we would like them to be. And so this is just a small way for Post to kind of bring that part in. And so I was so proud of our kids. In the region, there were 82 teams. Post took first, second, and third. The first place team got certificates and $25 gift cards from Amazon. Then for the state, there were 514 teams. Our first place team was actually 7th out of 100. All the teams above them were high school. So it was pretty exciting. We ended up having 6 teams in the top 100. And the kids, they were excited every week. That, where are we? How can we do this? And at first it was hard to get them to spend their cash. They didn't want to spend the money, but it was a lot of fun. And we were the only middle school in the region that finished with a positive return on investment. So my kids did really, really well. And so we have a couple of my students here, Charlotte Moore and Walter Egbert. And I asked them to please come talk a little bit about it. So Charlotte, you want to go first? Ladies first.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Warren. I'm from Miss Johnson's Post Middle School sixth grade math class, and I'm here to represent Post with the stock market. So for my experiences with the stock market, I say it was pretty fun towards like the ends. I'd say the groups were pretty well picked for my class at least. And I'd say it was just really fun getting to like know how to spend your money correctly and like wisely instead of like poorly kind of. So like you figure out what you need instead of what you want. And then I feel like some things I would change is how we did the portfolio. Like write up because we had to write about like all of our portfolios and we had like so many of them because we had to spend like $100,000. So it was kind of like really hard for I'd say a lot of our teams to like do it. So I'd say what I would change is maybe like do like maybe 5 or something. So it's like easier for us to finish it on time. So we get like a better grade than what we would originally. Well, then a better grade than what we would originally if we didn't turn it in. I would also change how we did like teams. We got to pick our teams, but if you didn't pick yours in time, your team got like chosen for you. I'd say what we should do like next time is maybe like the teachers pick the teams. So it's not like you don't do anything because you're talking with your friends, you like actually get the work done. Like that, because that happens a lot in our class. So that's what my experience and what I would change with it. Thank you.
I'm Walter Egbert, and I enjoyed the stock market in many ways. Me and my group were, I would say, buying many stocks. We bought many of the stocks where people needed things the most and were doing really well. Sometimes that crashed a lot, went down. But I would say that our groups did really well, except for the ones who knew they were just going to mess around and talk, not buy stocks and just buy random stocks that people actually didn't really need and use up a lot. And we chose the stocks from companies that they were doing really well in that time of the year, this year. But it was really fun with me and my group. We were working, and what I would change was like, yes, moving, like having the teachers choose where the groups, who would be in, what the groups were going to be and stuff like that, as people were talking a lot. So the portfolio part was long because we would have bought around 18 companies. A lot, and I would say that would be it.
Thanks. Yeah, and just to finish up, Charlotte and I actually talked about that because this was the first year I put in the portfolio, and I agree with them. Maybe pick out a sampling of stocks because asking them, some of the groups really diversified and made a difference. Yes.
I was curious how the students chose the stocks like what kind of research was involved in selecting and also the frequency that they checked. Did they get an actual newspaper and find the symbol?
Well, that's how we used to do it.
That's what I was thinking.
But now on the actual stock market game site, they have stock news. We also went to Yahoo Finance.
Okay.
Sometimes we talked about things in the world that were happening that would affect the stock market, like jobs reports, earning reports. The war made some things interesting because different stocks were doing better or worse due to that. So.
Did they do research on there? Or what was required? What did you all do to choose your stocks in your portfolio?
So what we did was we like picked a stock, and then if you were the researcher, because we all had like jobs to do, if we were the researcher, we would like research the job, like what did they sell, and then on Yahoo Finance, we would like figure out the ticker symbol and like how well we're doing. So we would research like about that company or stock, and then like what they sold that would benefit people's lives other than.
Did you find it more interesting than you thought you would? Learning about it, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
And are your parents taking advantage of your new knowledge now?
No.
How long was this project? Was this?
10 weeks. Well, and then the pre-lessons were 3 weeks, so about 13 weeks. But we just did it on Fridays, because we could do a warm-up and then they could get right in and start doing further research. They were able to see the charts, you know, even back to 5 years, how the stocks were doing. So
During that time, did you watch some stocks go down that you'd invested in? And did you want to sell? Or did you stick with it?
Me and my group knew that many of the stocks we bought, because if we sold some of those stocks, it would just go down more. But some stocks we just kept it the same because we would know just jump back up soon.
how about you?
So probably, yeah, like we did see a lot of ours go down, not by a lot. But there came a point where we had to like sell some of them because we were in like the negatives and we had to get back to the positives. So we had to sell like a lot of them that were doing like really bad, like 6.54 or something negative. So we had to get rid of like those ones. And it also kind of built our knowledge more because it was like, how do we get rid of them and then get the money back and then still figure out how to get back to positive. So it was kind of like.
Great job. Yeah, impressive results there. I like that.
Good job.
Thank you very much. And thank you families for bringing them. Appreciate our student presentations very much. Next up is our introduction of our new student advisors. Dr. Sweeting's going to take over.
I'm gonna come down here and I'd like to, I'd like to invite all the new student advisors to come on up. You are, so come on. Just, you can make a line right here. And why don't you get ready to go? So as they're finding out, we have student voice on every district committee. And we need student voice on these committees. And so each of these students applied, interviewed, and were selected to serve on some of them 2 committees. But all of them are on our Student Advisory Council and a district committee. And I'm going to have them share who they are. And if you don't remember which committee you're on, I'll help you. It's right behind you. But just say what school you're attending now and will attend next year, what grade you're in, then your name and the committee. And I'll be over here. I'm Jalen. I go to post middle school. I'm going to high school next year. I'm doing the SPED advisory. My name's Callie Young. I go to post middle school and I'll be to 8th grade next year. And then I'm doing the Arlington Council for Education. My name's Kaylee Williams. I'll be going into 8th grade next year and I'm doing the budget committee and technology. My name's Skylar Bowen. I'm in 8th grade and I'll be going into high school next year. I'm doing the Arlington Youth Coalition for Healthy and Resilient Youth and District Community Activities.
I'll be going to 11th grade next year and I'll be doing the budget advisory.
Hi, my name is Sunny Dixon, and I will be going into 8th grade next year, and I'll be doing the budget advisory task force and the technology advisory committee.
I'm Julieta Vergara Garcia and I'm going into 11th grade next year and I'm gonna do junior student advisor to the board.
Yes. So we have Maddie Van Beeks. We're going to honor in a few minutes. She is a senior student advisor to the board. And we usually have someone start in their junior year and then graduate in their 2 years. So Julieta will be, I'm sorry, Maddie, but we'll congratulate you. And Julieta will take that spot as the junior advisor Alex will move into the senior advisor spots. Thank you, Julietta. And
I'm Audrey Wall. I'm going in 12th grade next year for Langdon High School. And I'm a part of the Youth Coalition and district and community equity team.
so your voice, as you know, that's very important to us. So it's very important to the board because you will provide that insight that the adults need to make better decisions. And this, you'll join already groups of students that have already been on the committees, you know, already on the board. You have Alex, so thank you. And we'll get you more information about where you're going to be for next year. So thank you. Congratulations. And let's say with Julietta, you'll be sworn into the board in August. Okay.
Thank you all for stepping up and serving your school community and your district. We all appreciate you very much. Next up, we get to have one more presentation, and then we get to honor our 2025-26 retirees. And we just came from a celebration, and we're gonna honor them publicly. Eric DeYoung, is he back from the party yet? Yes. We'd like to welcome Eric DeYoung, our Executive Director of Human Resources, to help us honor our retirees.
Yes, indeed, thank you. A few stats, yes, we just got back and unloaded the cars and everything, so we are, we enjoyed recognizing 20 retirees this year. And an average of 27 years of service between all those 20 people, 542 total years of service. And we had 3 retirees started in the 80s in this district: Ed Aylesworth, Darlene Folsom, Tom Royce. And 9 of our retirees had 32 or more years of service. So we recognize people from transportation, the district office, and all of our schools. I think every school had somebody retire this year, which is pretty impressive. So anyway, I think we have a slideshow, is that right? So we'll get that going.
Thank you, Eric. That was awesome. We really appreciate those retirees and all the years of service that they gave to our students and our community. Thank you. They will be missed. Next up, we have our public comment portion of our meeting. Do we have anyone signed up to speak? Anyone who has not yet signed up that would like to speak? All right, well, moving right along, we have our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve our consent agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second. It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Watts to approve the consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond.
Aye.
Director Kelly. Director Watts.
Aye.
President Levesque.
Aye.
Director Nat.
Aye. So that brings us to our new business part of our meeting, and we have the honor of honoring our student advisor, Maddie Van Beek. And we have a resolution that we're going to be reading together. And this is an action item, don't let me forget. So we're gonna, do we have to stand up? Do we need to stand up? No.
It's like all we're just sitting, we're sitting.
We're gonna say your name a whole lot. We're gonna make you so
It's-
embarrassed. Get used to it. This is a resolution of appreciation honoring our student advisor, Maddie Van Beek. Be it resolved by the Arlington Public Schools Board of Directors as follows. Whereas Maddie Van Beek has faithfully served as student advisor to the Arlington Public Schools Board of Directors from 2025 through 2026, and whereas Maddie Van Beek provides valuable student perspectives and insight during the board meetings, and
Whereas Maddie Van Beek served as the ASB Vice President at Weston High School and has been on the Weston High School Honor Roll for 4 straight years. And
whereas Maddie Van Beek shows compassion in the way she advocates for all students at Weston High School to feel seen, supported, and included. And
whereas Mandy Van Beek, while performing the duties of student advisor, also served with faith and kindness in the leadership role in her church youth group and was crowned the 2026 Darrington Rodeo Queen. And
whereas Mary Van Beek deeply loved love for animals and caring nature led her to pursue and graduate from Beck Tech School. And
Whereas Maddie Van Beek's strong work ethic and compassionate heart reflect her character and values, and
Now therefore, be it resolved that the Arlington Public Schools Board of Directors, meeting in an official session on June 8th, 2026, through adoption of this resolution, extends to its distinguished member, Maddie Van Beek, this token of appreciation, a red and white and blue honor cord for services generously rendered to public education in the Arlington Public Schools.
be it further resolved that this resolution be made part of the official record of the Arlington Public Schools Board of Directors, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to Ms. Maddie Van Beek. Congratulations. And it's an action item, so we're gonna take a vote real quick. Do we have a motion to approve resolution 2605?
I'll make a resolution to approve 2605.
I second.
I'll take a motion.
It's been moved by Director Watts and seconded by Director Kelly to approve resolution 2605. Madam Clerk.
Director Diamond.
aye.
Director Kelly.
Yes.
Director Watts.
Yes.
President Levesque.
Yes.
Director Nat.
Aye. Thank you. That motion is approved and you are officially recognized, and want to take a group picture, if that's okay.
And Mandy, I have another cord for serving on just all the committees that you did. You have the red and white and blue, and then.
You're gonna be all tangled up.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm good.
For you, thank you for your service. Thank you. And we all signed a card with these. Where do you want us, Carrie?
Right behind Maddie's perfect.
Oh, wait.
But you stand right here.
Yeah, you stay seated.
No, I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Just.
Actually, don't actually come in front and then.
Yeah, that'd be better.
Started as it started. There you go.
I'm gonna be coloring out as well.
No, you're
fine.
You're
Yeah.
fine.
I'll get it between.
Oh, yeah, that works. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Everyone like.
Back to the left.
No hiding. Share you slightly that way. Perfect, there you go. Okay. Like right here, please. That's good. Hold it. I can do it without flash. Like right here again. Perfect, thank you.
Not to blow.
Thank you, Maddie.
I'm so grateful for her service, and I also want to acknowledge that she's our very first student advisor from Weston High School, and it was really nice to hear the perspective from Weston and all of the great stories. So thank you, Maddie, for your service. Next up is our report of donations approved by our superintendent for June.
So for June, I approved, there was one donation from the Pioneer PTSA for $1,039, and they're using it for baseball gloves for health and fitness.
And then we have our conflict of interest annual report.
So I'm gonna have, I think it's gonna be up here. So this is an accounting of since 2017 of any time there would be a conflict of interest where a board member would have to abstain from voting. Because we want to be very public if there's any conflicts, and that if there has been, like in a contract for a contractor or a vendor, I will report. If you go to the very end, there were no conflict of interest that I would report for this year. That's it. That's what we have. So we had no abstentions this year or since 2020.
Been a little bit. Thank you very much for that report. Next up is our Advisory Council for Education, our ACE Committee's annual report. And we would like to welcome up our ACE Committee members, Cheryl McGuire as our chair. And we've got a report, and we're so grateful that you could all come.
So the other members, there are quite a few members that come to the ACE committee, represents a wide range of people. The charter and the purpose, I'm Cheryl McGuire, and I've been in the community forever. My kids and grandkids have gone through, so.
It's about looking, Cheryl, try pointing at
There you go. This is a standing committee commissioned by the Arlington School Board and described in policy 4110 and procedure 4110P. It was actually adopted by the school district April 2008, and then it was reviewed in October of this school year. So it's been kept up to date. And the purpose of the committee is to provide a systematic representation of public involvement in education, in the educational decisions under consideration by the board of directors, so it's not just a top-down. This committee meets monthly throughout the school year, more often if needed, and is led by a citizen chairperson and citizen vice chairperson. And the vice chair is Brittany Kleinman, and she is going to cover the next section.
Hey, good evening, board. I'm Brett Kleinman. I currently serve as the vice chair of the advisory council. This is my 8th year on. For some background, the Advisory Council for Education has been in place since the mid-70s in Arlington and has served as your advisory council. So some of the scope of work and responsibility, we provide or participate in district strategic planning and provide recommendations to the board of directors. We will research topics that you guys assign to us that you'd like more information, or a topic that other members of the community have discussed that it's something that we want to pursue looking further into. We receive general information from the school district and administrative staff, and then that leads to us being key communicators in our community. So we take that role as helping collect information from district directors and the board of directors and help get that out into the community and try to spread accurate information to our key stakeholders in our community. Many of us populate other committees and subcommittees as needed. So you'll hear from a few of our student representatives that serve on our student advisory council. And then several of us you'll see serve on other committees as well. So our equity committee, budget committee, and so on. And then we do informational presentations, board research topics, and other tasks as identified each year from you guys. I'm going to take a minute to talk about our membership. So this is just a small chunk of our current membership, but we've got a pretty broad group. So the first thing is we look for 5 citizens or community members from each director's district. So Director 1, Matt's district is Ryan Johnson. Director 2 from Sherry Kelly is Lauren Hunter. We currently have a vacant position for District 3. So Nicole, let's find someone awesome to represent you in your district. Erica Coghill represents Director District 4 for Mary Levac. And then I fill a couple roles, but one of which is District 5 and representing Eric District. And then we have family and community members. Our goal is to have a minimum of one community member or family member to represent each building in our district. So you can see here, Michelle Kinney represents Eagle Creek. We have vacancies right now at Pioneer, Presidents, Howler, Post, and SVLC. We've got a representative, Skylar, for Kent Prairie, Sarah Blake for Arlington High School, Chelsea Huff for Weston. And then we have a few community members that represent the community as a whole. It's Heather Demers and Sharon McGuire. We do have district staff that we asked to fill certain roles to make sure that we've got representation. So Hillary McGuire is a para at Post, and she serves as a classified employee rep, as well as the PSC or public school employees bargaining units rep. Josh Thayer is a counselor in our district, and he serves as our Arlington Education Association certificated rep. I serve as a classified employee as well as AOPA, which is Arlington Office Professionals Association. So that's going to be our district office administrative roles. Carrie Marsh from SBLC serves as our principal liaison. And then from the district office, Carrie Henderson-Burke, our executive director of teaching and learning. Gary Sable serves as our secretary. And then Dr. Speaking as well. And then my favorite part of our committee, as you got to meet some of our students, new student reps earlier, this is our current students this year. So we have one graduating senior, and then we have a few juniors that we'll have for one more year, and a handful of sophomores that we get to have for a couple more years. And then we have one 8th grader on our committee currently. These are our current student reps. All right. One of the key projects that we spent a good amount of time on this year was developing contingency plans for Post Middle School. We all know we've been in a tough spot trying to determine what our next steps are for Post Middle School and the staff and students there. So we broke up into 3 groups throughout the fall and early winter. We were able to give you guys a presentation, I believe in January or February, looking at the 3 areas. So the first was looking at if we move 6th grade back to elementary school and combined both middle schools for 7th and 8th grade in one building at Howler. The second option was double shifting, moving Post students to Howler and having a 2-shift option. And then the third was looking into alternative locations or options within our community. So we're going to share a little bit about that. Sure, if you want to share about. Sure.
So, like mentioned before, we gave a more complete discussion earlier. But basically, we looked into how it would be to keep the 6th graders in elementary and then move the 7th and 8th graders up to Howler and what that would require. And so we did a lot of research. We still have a few things to look into. And of course, it will depend on how many kids are at each school and so on. But it looked very promising. And so when we get more information and more details, we will report back again.
Great. Callie and Addie are going to share a little bit about our double shifting option.
Yeah, so we were in the same group and we talked about double shifting, which would be once eventually we can't have students occupy posts anymore, we would move everyone over to Howler, and there would be either Post or Howler kids in a morning shift and then Post or Howler in the afternoon. We did a lot of research on this, looking at past attendance and enrollment and looking at schedules and bus routes and all this stuff and making sure that it would be possible if we ended up coming to that.
And with that, we also found a lot of challenges that we're kind of going to have to find ways to overcome with that. As with any of these options, there's a lot of different, kind of curveballs you got to get around. Some of the main ones for us were like what Ali was saying was the bus routes. I mean, we need double the bus drivers to be able to get the students early in the morning, late at night. Another thing with that, middle school sports would be pretty much obsolete. There would be no possible room for that. Lunches, figuring out the nutrition, so everyone is able to get what they need. And then, yeah, kind of just figuring out the amount of teachers that are needed, the amount of classrooms that are needed, because the amount of students are just going up every year, and trying to find a way to kind of, you know, be able to educate all of them in the best way possible is very difficult, especially if you're condensed down to one middle school building. But yes, double shifting was promising, and there's just different things we'll have to work around.
And the third option that we talked about was looking into alternative locations throughout Arlington that might work. We researched different options, from looking for land and looking at maybe like modular or temporary buildings. We worked with the city to try to see if they had any buildings or knew of any buildings coming up in our community that could potentially work. Ultimately, the option C committee, we decided that it would be best to recommend to bypass that option C as a plausible option for post at this time. There's just not any locations in our community that would currently work for a school that would hit everything we need as far as safety and security and space. And then too many logistics when it comes to transportation, support services, and then making sure we're serving all of our students that require services with our special education department and so on. What's that? Our students here are going to share a little bit about what topics we've covered this year and what their favorites were.
We talked about a lot of different topics this year, and we had people come in and present different things from their different programs. So we got presentations about special education, technology and AI, safety, capital projects, discipline data, multi-tiered systems of support, and then our CTE programs, so our college career and technical education programs and internships. I would have to say that my favorite presentations to watch and hear about were our special education one or our CTE program one, because it kind of opened my eyes and let me see the different programs that we have to benefit students for all different types of careers, not just the one-way path on to college. And you got to see the different internships that they offer and the different programs for our special education students once they've graduated or outgrown our system.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the technology and AI one. I mean, we had a bunch of different specialized people come in and talk to us. Matt Jurek was one of them. And I thought that was super in-depth and gave us a lot of insight on some of the problems we've been seeing at the high school and how much work is going on behind the scenes to get these solved. And the differences we've been seeing, and that's in post with getting the wires all cleaned up or the internet problems at the high school. That was just very cool to see all the people that it takes to put all this stuff, you know, into one, you know, working education system. And so that was very neat also to see the updated AI policies at our recent meeting.
We're going to chat a little bit about next year's proposed topics. I do want to say that at our meeting last week, as our final one of the year, Dr. Jurek came and spoke a little bit about the AI policy, and we had some amazing conversation, and it was really cool to see the students' perspective was really neat. And I think we all kind of like got us all thinking a little bit. So I know that added to this list, we would like to circle back next year to that AI policy and look a little more. Some other topics that our committee has discussed that we would like to see this year is discussion and working towards more community involvement, not just with our community, but in our committee, but within the district as a whole, and how can we get more people involved. Talking about our survey updates. So our group does help Dr. Sweeting and Gary Sable with the development of those family surveys and student surveys that go out. So we take a look at that. Looking again at child nutrition, usually about once a year, we learn a little bit about that, and it's always a hot button topic. The kids want to talk about the food and what's not working, and we always hear the same thing: better food, bigger portions. We'll do some safety and security update conversations, categorical programs. Usually we do an annual update about our attendance, look and see where those numbers and trends are. Facilities updates. We get an annual update about our high school and beyond plan, and next year over the summer we'll be actually transitioning into a new platform on that. A big topic that's come up the last several years is cell phones in schools, and I know that this year we had to put some of that research work on hold so that we could focus on our post contingency, but that's something our committee has asked to come back to. We usually do a few annual budget updates and discuss where we're at there. Our instructional materials and programs updates. UDL or Universal Design for Learning. And then kind of going back to the post contingency, our group has asked to spend a little bit more time digging into some of the logistics and benefits of sending sixth graders back to elementary school versus being in middle school, and kind of looking at some data with that. Right. We also would love for feedback from the board. If there's a topic that you would like us to dig more into or get onto our agendas for next year, please don't hesitate to let us know. We want to make that happen. Right. And we do have a senior to honor tonight.
Yeah, I will say, you know, Carson, he's participated on ACE for several years. And this year, you know, he's been pretty busy and has been unable to make very many of the meetings, but we do appreciate his commitment. I know he's busy at school as well. He will receive, Maddie, can you hold it up? The students that participate on a district committee in their senior year, they will get a cord that they wear at graduation, and it's a blue, light blue and white cord. So Carson he's probably already received it, I hope, because tomorrow night is Weston's graduation, and then Arlington High School's is the next night. So, yeah. So Carson, wherever you are, congratulations. I'll shake your hand on Wednesday.
Well, are there any questions?
Thank you for.
Is there any topics the board members would like the ACE committee to really focus on next year? Any of the ones on the list that they feel strongly about? Anything that's not on the list they feel strongly about?
Excited to see. The community involvement. I'm excited to see what you guys talk about.
That is my favorite. That's
Oh, good.
something that I'm excited about.
Yeah, I think all of your topics are something that weighs on us when we meet and talk in our study sessions and after our board meetings, and involvement is something that we have really wanted to get our community here at meetings, to get our community involved in committees and finding ways, whether it's going to freshman nights or sixth grade, welcome to middle school, or having a flyer when someone enters kindergarten, just saying, hey, these are what we offer. Cause I know that's all new. A lot of this is new to me, being a newer board member, that there was all these committees happening behind the scenes. So getting the word out.
Yeah, and that way they'll feel part of the school community.
Yeah. And maybe have an idea of what's behind the scenes happening.
Mhm.
Want to challenge all of our board members to make sure that their representative, if they have one, can make it to meetings. And if they aren't able to make it to meetings, they need to find somebody new. And that maybe we need some help finding those people that are willing to come to represent that district area. And I really want to challenge all of our principals that might be listening to volunteer somebody to attend if their school doesn't have any representation, and maybe even assign 2 people so they can take turns if life gets crazy busy. So just really feel strongly that our ACE committee needs more representation and more community involvement. And so looking forward to that. I really want to see focus on a cell phone policy. When we were at our study session last month, all the principals were like not demanding, not begging, but like really, really hoping that we would come up with a district cell phone policy that would be something that would help our students really focus and learn while they're in school. So that would be something that I would appreciate the ACE committee looking at. Also, that post-middle school, it's not going to fix itself. So I would really like to have that be a focus too. Anything else anybody else would like to say? All right, thank you very much. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you families for driving. All right, we have time built in for a little break. For anyone that might need a break. I mean, I thought it was gonna take longer. Want to just push through?
Yeah, let's
All right.
go for it.
Any objection to moving forward?
No,
Okay.
gotcha, what's up?
We are going to not take our break. And everybody's welcome to stay. I know everybody came to support their families and things, but you don't have to stay, but you're welcome to stay. Our next item of business is our City of Arlington School Resource Officer Services Interlocal Agreement 2627. And we'd like to welcome Brian Lewis up, our Executive Director of Operations, to give us a little overview. And then this is an action. How many more days of work left, Brian?
Not keeping track.
Oh, that's a good answer.
I know the last day, but I don't know how many days until that last day. Okay, good evening, directors. Thank you for letting me be here tonight to speak with you about renewal of our interlocal agreement with the City of Arlington for the school resource officer. Attached with the board plate were a number of board policies that mention this presence of the school resource officer in the school building. There's a brief history of our relationship with APD and the placement of SROs in our buildings. Some information from surveys, student, staff, and community surveys that we performed this year, and a proposed agreement in terms for that agreement. So the SRO is mentioned through our board policies quite frequently. School-based threat assessment, district relationships with law enforcement, and the school resource officer policy itself. We began having experience with SRO in 1990 through 1998 with the presence of a police officer conducting drug abuse resistance education program. Fifth graders. In 1999, we had our first SRO at Arlington High School for a 3-year period, and that expanded in 2003 to 2 SROs, one at Arlington High School, one at Post Middle School for a 3-year period as well. In 2006, we had to cut back to 1 SRO for the entire district. And then in 2013, APD, having some budgeting issues, wanted to cancel the SRO program. The district agreed to fund 1 SRO, fund 50% of an SRO program an SRO position to continue in the school buildings. 2014, the district picked up 100% of the funding for that SRO, and that continues through the current time. In discussions that I have with our contact at the police department, they are working to find additional funding to either pay for the current SRO position that we have or add another SRO. And that is something that is frequently mentioned throughout the surveys that we've conducted at the community surveys, is the request for an additional SRO. So the agreement that is presented to you today for your consideration is similar. In the past few years, we would have 1 SRO officer on campus for the entire 180 school days. The agreement has been reviewed by our own legal counsel and by the City of Arlington's legal counsel. It does comply with our policies in RCW. That agreement would start on September 1st, our first day of school in 2026, and extend through June 11th, 2027. Estimated cost for 2026, 27 is $147,741. This covers the salary of the police officer and the benefits for that 180-day period. So there's 260 days is considered a full-time position. So the City of Arlington would pick up the remainder, the 80 days salary and benefits that the school resource officer is not assigned to work in one of our buildings. Any questions about the terms before I move on to the opinion surveys? Okay.
One question, Brian.
Okay.
If they don't work all 180 days, do we have to pay as they do, or do we get, like, if they only work 179 days, do we get to take 1 day off?
They do have sick leave that's included in their benefits, and they do have vacation time. It's also included in their benefits. So if they're working or on approved leave, for that 180 days, then there's no cost differential. We don't get anything back. If the police department, and I believe it was 2023, the police department had to end our engagement with the SRO early because of staffing issues that they were having, and we did get a discount at that time. So if they're not assigned to us, then we could get a lower cost associated with that. So this table, I've been presenting this table for a few years now that shows the results of the survey that we've been conducting with students. This one also has a staff. We have not been presenting the table, so I don't have the data for the prior years about questions about the staff, but the student survey has remained fairly consistent. We did have a pretty significant drop in 2025, 2026 for the strongly agree from prior years. In the last year, we did not include a response option for neither agree nor disagree or other. That was not in the survey. It was included in the survey this year, neither agree nor disagree, and that was 43.9%. We believe that's from students not having experience with an SRO in their building. And because this does cover grades 6 through 12, the SRO does spend a lot of time with students at Arlington High School, and not necessarily spend so much time in the middle schools. But I do want to share with you, just because they're not visibly present in a school building does not mean they're not working for us. Because they do have, the SRO spends time with families outside of school, families of students that are in our school buildings, in conducting investigations, supporting the well-being of students in our school buildings, but they might require them to be in the field conducting those investigations. Family and community responses to the survey show a fairly steady support of agree or strongly agree from 2021 through 2025, or very safe or safe. We did change the response in 25, but it's analogous to the very safe option. Is analogous to strongly agree or agree, and that's hovering, above 68%, 67% to 84% in 2024. We have seen a fairly strong response pattern across the years that we've been conducting the survey. So, between 1,396 respondents to 804 respondents. Strongly disagree or strongly disagree has also remained fairly consistent, with one outlier in 2023, 10% were strongly disagree, strongly disagree that year. And then don't know has been fairly consistent as well, except in 2021, it was really high at 29.5%. And that we don't know why it was so high in that year. So be happy to answer any questions regarding the proposed contract.
I don't have any questions, just a statement that I do appreciate the feedback we get from students, our families, our community about their thoughts on having an SRO, because in my speaking with other legislative representatives, school board directors, I believe it was North Shore eliminated their SRO program, and there was a protest about that. I don't know that it was a very big protest, but it's just, I like having your data because it validates what we're doing for our community. And I feel that it's important that we not just blanket saying we all need this or we don't all need this. I think you really have to look at your community and see what their input is, and especially from the students. And I appreciate that you provide that. And so when I do hear of other schools who are eliminating it, what is the rationale for that? And maybe the population, which might be more varied than what Arlington is, maybe students have an issue with that. And I just think we want to continue to hear that. So I think you present reasons, and you've done the surveys to validate why we have this. And it seems like it's money well spent. So thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Any other thoughts, questions?
Well, I appreciate with all the budget cuts and everything that we've been talking about too, like that we're transparent about sharing the SRO. My only wondering was about it looked like, can we go back a couple slides to where we were looking at the staff? I think one more, the staff and the students. So like, I was trying to see, because I can't see that blue strongly agree. It just seems like the students is a lot smaller. Were you saying that was mostly because maybe the other ones that neither disagree or they just haven't had enough experience within
Yes.
SRO? Okay.
And I mean, that was an option that we added back in, so.
Yeah.
You know, when we changed up the survey, and this is only for 1 year that we did this, can have an effect on the results that we see.
Yeah.
And I will say why that was changed this year was because of the input of students. So the Student Advisory Council looked at all the questions. They were looking at the post questions, but when we asked about the SRO question, they didn't like that last year we forced them to answer yes or no.
Oh, okay.
Because that some of them had not even met the SRO, so they wanted to have that option that they don't know.
Yeah, and like, yeah, okay. Thank you. I just kind of needed a closer look at that, so.
Do our student advisors have any thoughts about our SROs?
No, I do agree. I think it's very nice that we have the input of the students. I also thought it was interesting that a lot of students, you see that increase of disagree because students haven't met them. So I thought that was an interesting little look at it. But I think it's definitely good for our schools. I know a lot of schools actually don't have that. I was talking at the WASA event for our region. That's something they were very jealous of, I would say. I think they were wanting to grab that.
Interesting.
You want to share, Maddie?
I like having a resource officer at our school. I mean, I feel like he gets along with the kids pretty well. Bauer, he's a cool dude. I remember, I think it was like my last day at Snow, we were coming in from the bus and I looked in his car and he had a little boo-boo hanging from his mirror. I was like, he's so funny. I like having.
And I hear that this is his last year and then we get a different SRO next.
Yeah, there's not been an assignment made yet, but we have an idea of who this person is, and they've been in the school building with Bauer recently. And they're a good person. I've had an opportunity to work with them on another issue in one of our school buildings. And they ask really good questions and they're very insightful.
This is a action item. Do we have a motion to approve the school resource officer interlocal agreement of next year?
I make a motion to approve the City of Arlington School Resource Officer Services Interlocal Agreement 2627.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Director Kelly and seconded by Director Watts to approve our Arlington School Resource Officer Services Interlocal Agreement 2627. Madam Director Diamond.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Watts.
Yes.
President Levesque. Aye. Director Knapp. Aye. Awesome. Thank you. That is approved. Thank you, Brian, for that detailed report. We really appreciate having the information so we can make an informed decision. Our next item of business is our connecting UDL to MTSS. I dare you to make your presentation, Carrie, without any acronyms.
Do I have to take the dare?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll try. But I've already failed more in the title.
That's right. Go for 2 so far.
See,
No pressure.
I try, I've already failed.
Welcome, Carrie Henderson Burke, our Executive Director of Teaching and Learning.
Thank you so much. All right, well, we are on our last board presentation about our teaching and learning emphasis. We've already finished our first year focused on multi-tiered systems of support, hereafter known as MTSS. Can we do that? We started this year sending, if you'll remember, 45 people to the PLC conference who came back pretty energized around the work of PLCs, what PLCs actually do, and the idea of reincorporating some more. My cuteness meter is. Sorry, distraction there. What's over? Anyway, so what I wanted to do also is remind us that as a district, we had our leadership team agree to some common expectations for PLCs. And one of them was relying on the 4 questions to guide the work. And the 4 questions of PLCs are, what do we want students to know? How will we know if they've learned it? What will we do if they don't know it? And what will we do if they already know it? So we're gonna take a look at some next level work around the 4 questions that's been happening. This is at Eagle Creek, who had the privilege of working with a consultant group this year. The consultant group brought to Eagle Creek a massive plan to work through the 4 questions of a PLC in a much more detailed manner than just asking ourselves the 4 questions. So, and after the SIP team got beyond its overwhelm at their massive plan, the SIP team got to work and said, how are we going to make this idea work for our teachers and for our kids? So that's what we're going to go through. So while I'm covering some big ideas here, be thinking to yourself, where do I see evidence of the 4 questions being answered? But also Universal Design for Learning, hereafter known as UDL. Watch for signs of that, because remember, Universal Design for Learning is just planning to address barriers before the barriers start. So give me a high five or a wink or something when you see something that triggers a reminder of Universal Design for Learning, because this is a really lovely marriage between the two, if you will. Okay, so this is Eagle Creek's 2nd grade team that went to work. And we see, like, as far as this form goes, it starts right off with basically what do you want students to know. But here's the deal, it's got to be a standard. So this is ensuring that we're not just addressing a mathematical idea, this math, but that it's very specific to the grade level, very specific to what we need all kids to be able to conquer before they move on to the next grade level. So, and this is a huge one for 2nd graders, right? Learning to tell time. It can be a real struggle. So they're tackling an important standard here. Okay, but don't just tell us what you want kids to know. Tell us why they need to know it. Why is this a focus? And so teachers also have to understand from their own perspectives and as a team why the learning matters. And that's a small thing in so many ways, but it's a big thing when everybody's on the same page about why it matters, because that gets communicated to kids in a number of ways. And then don't just tell us what you want them to learn, but actually analyze the standard, break it into chunks. Let's talk about what it's really asking kids to do. Let's ask about what kids have to do before they can conquer this skill. Let's ask about what kids need to learn for words in order to conquer this. So it's really, you can see that extensive pre-planning being spelled out a little bit here. And then also important, how do we know kids are going to learn it? What will it look like when we know kids have learned it? In other words, what is the success criteria? And for this, learning to read time in 5-minute increments on an analog clock, it's an I can statement. We want kids to be able to say, I can tell time, tell and write time to the nearest 5 minutes. When kids can say that, that's a great indicator that it's done. And then here's what it looks like in action, right? Read the minute hand by counting 5s, all of that. So we're not just knowing the standard, we're breaking the standard into pieces. We're analyzing what kids really need to do. And we're also saying, here's what it looks like when we know they've learned it. Pretty great. This is one of my other favorite parts of this form, and that is depth of knowledge, which is a great way for teachers to kind of organize the complexity of what kids need to be able to do with what we're asking them to do. Is it recall? Is this a memory, skill building, fluency building lesson or concept? Do we need students to apply the concept? Do we need them to think strategically, or do we need them to apply this learning in a novel situation? There is no value associated with all 4 of those depths of knowledge. Every kid needs to be able to do all of them at some point. And as you can see in this one, we've got kids working with being able to recall and being able to apply and being able to strategize. So the more you've got there, the more complex the concept the kids are trying to learn. Here's good old-fashioned Question 2, how will we know when they've learned it? Formally asked. We'll give a pre-assessment. We'll work with the data and then they'll be assessed at the end. Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious, how much of this is organically from like the training in the book? I'm assuming there's a book. And then how much is it the PLC is actually sitting down deciding for themselves, like the purple things that you're saying?
The purple things are very much PLC discussion.
They're
That's
saying-
what they're recording. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah.
That's what they're recording for their notes during the session. So they're
Prompted by-
prompted by the questions, but they're supplying the answers and via discussion.
And how do you say, I'm sorry, my other part is, I'm just even knowing as a teacher myself, all the standards, there's just so many things. And I'm wondering, how do they go through the weeds? How do they determine
Yeah.
the higher level of like telling time? So, yeah.
Some of it has to do with just hard study of what the standards are. So we have on the second grade team, we've got some really strong standards knowers. Taryn Rossnagel has been in the business. Miranda's been in the business. Sadie's been in the business for a long time. Kate's comparatively new to second grade, and Corey is comparatively new to teaching. So we've got master teachers who have experience with the standards mentoring younger teachers, but also the eyes of newer teachers, what they bring to the table. It all comes into account. If you remember, hopefully you can, the kindergarten PLC that we saw several months ago, where they were talking about their pre-assessment. And part of their work was analyzing the assessment itself. And they talked about how they had evolved the assessment over time. That's also a terrific way to learn standards and be able to flesh this out a little bit more. There's a lot, I could be here for hours. I promise I won't be, but so here's where you might have a universal design for memory, for learning memory. So the other thing this form asks teachers to do is what are you going to do? How are you going to think about kids who are below proficiency, at proficiency, and above proficiency? What are their strengths? What are their needs? And what are their interests? How will we engage them? How will we play to their strengths? So for this crew at this point in the instructional cycle, for the below proficiency group, they knew that kids were going to need to be able to skip count by 5 and identify the difference between an hour and a minute hand, that would be the first skills they would tackle for kids who showed below proficiency on the assessments and on the work. And then you can see from there. So this happens before instruction begins. So they're already anticipating what kids might need, if they need more help or if they already know it. It's pretty cool. Okay. And then what's your goal for the post-assessment? So we go through the learning, we go through the teaching, we edit, we revise, we work with kids. And generally speaking, this is like a little mini lesson plan or a mini unit plan for big picture ideas. With multi-tiered systems of support, that's one point for me. The general goal for post-assessment is that 80% of kids will show proficient understanding. And if we don't have 80% of our kids at proficient, then we go back and teach the entire group. So, anyways, it includes testing dates because it's hard to talk about data together if not everybody has the data. So these are really important. An easy question to answer, but and then at the end, which isn't filled out on this one, but what did you learn from the data and what are your next steps? So all 4 questions are in there, but it is expanded really significantly. So this represents a years-long effort on the part of Eagle Creek teachers working with the consultants to pare it down, because this is an Eagle Creek determination for what they're going to continue with their 4 questions and their PLC work for next year. But wait, there's more. I do want to show you a very cool combination of what teaming can look like, because we have an example in this month's PLC notes about Title and Lab, a tier 2 team working with an entire grade level on something that didn't reach 80% proficiency on a post-assessment. So we have our intervention team moving into actual classroom work. No pullouts for this for fourth grade. So they were working on multiplying and dividing fluently. So Title II and LAP moved into classrooms and PLC'd and put together this instructional plan and implemented it. And you don't need to go through everything, but what I really wanted to highlight on this was the inclusion of this document that the Title LAP team brought to the fourth grade team, which is essentially explaining the importance of fluency practice. The fourth grade team didn't need the convincing, but they had the research backing to emphasize basic fluency building. And then at the end, this wasn't filled out on the second grade note-taking form, but this was Title and LAP's reflection on the data that they learned, right? So at 6 weeks into 18 weeks, 62%. So here we've got that data that's included that they've learned from their kids are fluent at 30 digits correct per minute. That's DCPM. It's 2 for me. And 25%, right, at correct division. So we've got some beginning data. We've got trajectory projection. That looks like we've got what, 12 weeks left in this unit. That's pretty realistic to get kids to 80%. And then 2 classes met or were close to meeting the 80% mark at the expected rate of improvement. And I love this. I'm interested in seeing the routines and motivators that those teachers use in helping students engage. So we have the grade level team teaching the Title LAP team about the kids. It's just, I just think this is a really great example of what tiers can do when they work together, because it's easy to keep Title and LAP separate from a grade level PLC or from working inside the classrooms and focusing only on pull-out groups, but it didn't happen. And then, performance on that. So this is a culmination of a lot of work. So what questions do you have, or is there anything else you'd like to see from another grade level?
I just wondered how your teachers feel after they put this effort in. Like, do they feel like, wow, this feels very solid. I feel more collaborative with my team. There's more purpose, I'm guessing, too, because it's not just this standard. It's like we worked together, we decided, and it's like a roadmap, and like you arrived.
The level of specificity and the level of clarity around what kids need and how teachers are going to respond to that is what I think the power is. This was hard because, as I said, what the consultant group brought to Eagle Creek was really probably 4 times longer than this. So the teams really worked on paring that down to what are the minimum required components of this to make it effective for kids. And that was a process by itself before they even really got to, get totally comfortable with it. So the complicated work of teaching behind the scenes and what our communities can do with some extra support.
It's great to see the team coming together, help the kids learn. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for explaining all the acronyms. I very much appreciate
part of my professional.
They go so fast. Sometimes it's hard to be like, wait, what was that? Yeah.
And Carrie, I just have to say, we're saving the goldfish with this program.
Yes, goldfish flashbacks, all of it. All of it.
Next up is our 26-27 budget development briefing. And we'd like to welcome Gina Zubel, our Executive Director of Financial Services, to come give us her briefing. It's gonna look really great, right? It's really positive.
On its way. It's coming along. So it's happy to be here to remind us about budget development and how things are coming along and where we're at in the process. This is just a quick visual because the budget process actually really never ends. It's a year-round thing, and it depends on which budget year we're after. This is representing next year's budget cycle. So again, this is just the key dates in the budget development so that you can see what we've gotten through and gotten past so far already,
The yellow highlighting is kind of the next big items of timeline key dates. So July 10, July 13, August 10, those board meetings are when we will have the next big format of budget draft, and then a budget draft for a board meeting. Budget hearing in August, which gets proposed for adoption. And progress. We've looked at this information before as we began early in the process for budgeting for next year. We identified that we were going to need to reduce by about 3.5 to 4.5 million. It's a range. And so we have not wavered from that goal or that commitment to do. And we're still in the process of carrying that out. So revenue estimates, we do have a pretty solid idea of where we're at for a revenue estimate for next year. Expenditure estimates, we're still compiling. We are still working on that. We do have costs for salaries, and we are putting that through continuous additional analysis for accuracy, completeness, and make sure that the things that we thought were not going to be in there are truly taken out, or the things that we know need to be in there are not somehow missing from being in there. So that's a lot of looking and work that we're doing still to compile that number. The costs for materials, supplies, and other costs, that workup is still underway as well. And we are constantly looking at what we have and reevaluating that against our revenue estimates. So, and then also deeper into the budget process, we will be doing a 4-year budget and enrollment forecast. So I'll be bringing that forward to you as well to take a look at. So it's not just this year, but now what is that trajectory when we get it landed for 26, 27? What does the trajectory then look like for the multi-year outlook going forward? So our revenue summary, we have looked at this in the previous budget board meeting, looking at what our revenues look like so far. There has been very little that has changed in this figure since we last looked at it. The last time we looked at it, we did not quite have our federal dollars for sure yet. We didn't know exactly what those allocations were going to be. We assumed that they would be flat. And so we used round numbers based on what was our award this year. We're going to assume pretty close to that for next year. We have since gotten some of those numbers. And so as we get those allocations more settled in stone for us, we will plug them into our budgeting software and get them represented for you.
Is this our enrollment projections for next year? This is the dollar amount that would.
This is the dollar amount that will be encapsulated for the projected enrollment that we approved in the January board meeting for enrollment.
Last year's budget was what we thought we were going to have, not our actual, correct?
Correct. That column that shows our budget for 25-26 is truly but what was approved in the August budget last August 2025. So if anybody were to go back and pull that document, those are the numbers that were there.
So even though we have less kids forecast for next year, we're getting more taxes.
Yes.
Correct.
That's not tied to student enrollment. But yes, we are getting more taxes. Not a ton more, but it does increase because the annual levy does step up partly every year. And that helps to keep up with inflationary costs as well.
Why was the federal general purpose also 16, that's almost 17%? It's at a decrease.
Right. We based that on what we were receiving for real. So it's just that federal general purpose is it's called federal forest. And it's just a little pocket of money that we receive from the feds. It's not assigned to any program in particular. And it's very small amount, but it sticks out as a very unique because we don't receive any other federal funds that are not tagged for an explicit purpose. So that's why it's 10 because that's closer to what we're actually receiving. And we don't know, they don't give us like an allocation award every year like our categorical programs that we have for special education or Title I. Those are very specific criteria and locked in on processes for applying and what data generates that money. The federal forest is not that way. It comes to the county and they post it to our books. So that's why. Okay. So very little change to that figure for revenues. And then here's a first blush look at our preliminary working forecast for 26-27 only. And I have it juxtaposed or up against the forecast or for the 25-26 school year. Now, these figures are adjusted to some extent to actual numbers. So for 25-26 this year, the column on your left, the beginning fund balance that we're using is the actual beginning fund balance that we started with. The revenues have been adjusted to align with what we anticipated for the decreased enrollment. So when our enrollment came in less and it began to average out at a certain number, that decreases what we're getting from the state. So that has been built into those revenue figures for 25-26, and it is less than we had budgeted for. 109,919 is what we budgeted for. Keep in mind that includes $5 million for governmental accounting standings board, lease accounting. So we always have to have that in there, but it doesn't actually represent dollars. And we have an offsetting budgeting amount for that $5 million in the expense side, so it washes out. But so the actual budgeted revenues for 25-26 without that $5 million in lease accounting is 105,919, 104,919. Oh, sorry, 104. And then what we're estimating our revenues are going to be for reals 25-26 is 103.8 million. So you can see the reflected less enrollment. And the expenditures for 25-26, I have left those as the budgeted expenditures. So our ending fund balance for 25-26, that picture is somewhat improved from the previous month and the month before. So that is a little bit better off planning to come in on 26-27 with a higher amount than we were thinking the last time you looked at this. I have adjusted, so now talking towards 26-27 column, we've got that an adjusted beginning fund balance. We've got our revenues plugged in there for what we believe will be planned for with the lesser enrollment. And the expenditures, we have, this is a rough adjusted number again. So now it is based on staffing. It does include staffing for next year. It does include those staff rolled up to the next steps on the salary schedules. It does include the negotiated contractual increases, inflationary adjustment, and that which was negotiated for our labor contracts. And so you can see that our expenditures are still in excess of our revenues in this picture, and we are still fine tuning. So we're still working to identify and get those things. One of my people in my department called it squeegee out the things that are not supposed to be in there. Yes, ending fund balance positive. It needs to be higher. Expenditures exceed revenues by 1.5 million. The measures that are within our reduced educational program are being implemented. Those reductions that they're still being translated into the financial numbers of our budget. So we're continuing to press on reductions. We're still doing detailed analysis. And, you know, our salary and benefits are 86% of our total expenditures. I'm still thinking that it will be finding some things where it'll needs to come off the budget. And then materials, supplies, and other costs are still undergoing a detailed analysis. The numbers that we're using right now are still a high level number. They're still rolled up with an increaser. Once we really have dug through all of the details I hope I'm not being too optimistic, but I believe that it will come in a little bit less than we have initially built. So overall, stay tuned. This is a look at the enrollment figures that we would plan to use for our future year forecasts. This is for a revenue forecast assumption. And it is using our board adopted enrollment for the 26-27 school year and then extrapolating that forward. So this isn't the same context as when we approve our enrollment to use for the very next year's revenue assumption. But these are built off of that, kind of as rolling up in the similar strategy that was used, the April roll up kind of situation. And so I've just prepared that and I'm putting it before you so that you have at least a chance to see when we're deeper into the process and we have the 4-year forecast with the revenues and expenditures all built out for you, that this is the numbers that the revenue side is based off of. So it's also taking into consideration the analysis and from Flow Analytics in informing these numbers, mostly on the side for the kindergarten numbers that we're using. So again, this is towards the end of the presentation, and I will be back at the July 10 board meeting, the draft in the format that the state requires our budget to be in, which is very detailed, 200 some plus pages of data. And I will have it summarized into a presentation for you so that it's better digested and the key points can be discerned. And then August 10 will be hearing at the board meeting and proposal for adoption. So questions?
Yeah, do you recall what your forecast was for the 25-26 this time last year for the ending fund balance?
I don't.
Do you know if you were conservative, if we did better than we thought we did?
So for 20, let me just think. So 25-26.
It was 2.9.
Where did we?
Well, that's what we started with. What I'm wondering is what she predicted.
I think it's gonna be around
3.4.
I think so.
During 24-25, you mean?
No,
For 25-26.
Well,
For
it
this
was
year,
now,
what you were
yeah.
predicting, what you were forecasting we would be at this time last year.
For
this.
I have to go look. I've got so many different.
I can look
years,
at
different timelines.
old board
Yeah.
docs. Yeah, just wondering if it was conservative and maybe be surprised next year.
I hope.
I hope so.
I try to be conservative wherever possible, but not to the detriment.
Right.
Thank you, Gina. Any other questions? Great, thank you very much. Next up in our new business portion of our meeting is our first reading of Board Policy 2140, Comprehensive School Counseling Plan. Dr. Sweden's going to explain all that.
yes, well, I'm doing this for Carrie Helgeson. And if we can get to the wording, it's really cleaning up, if you go to the second page, there is just where it talks about non-discrimination listing, it's adding ethnicity, homelessness, immigration, or citizen status to the long list of those areas that we wouldn't, none of those would hinder, they would be a part of, so it's inclusive. And then this changed from encouraged to important. So pretty simple, but in full disclosure, we brought it to the board, to show that those were added. And then we'll bring it back for second reading.
Okay, this is first reading. Does anybody have any changes or suggestions or questions?
And the next one is second reading. And it is the one of 1400 where it has to do with the April being the third Monday instead of the second or the fourth. And so because we have one board meeting in April, this last year, it was really hard that it was at the very end. It was just hard. So we've if you see the third there. Then on the next page, it's saying how the meetings will be remotely available to people, that it's, via Zoom and it's available the next day. And we just followed, there's other policies that we changed this language and we're just mirroring that language. So,
and this one is for second reading and adoption.
Yep.
And it is a student advisory vote. And so Alex, anything you'd like to say, or how would you vote?
I would vote yes.
Thank you, Alex. Maddie? Do we have a motion to approve for second reading and adoption board policy 1400?
To approve the second reading for policy 14.
It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Knapp to approve board policy 1400, meeting conduct, order, business, and forum.
Director Diamond,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Watts.
Aye.
President Levesque,
Yes.
Director Knapp.
Aye. The board policy 1400 is approved. Thanks. And that brings us to our regular informational items, and start with our superintendent report, Dr. Seating.
Maddie, I wanted to thank you again for being part of the board, and you're forever part of the board. And, I just wish you the very best as you move forward. You're still part, so don't, we have one more board meeting, but I just want to thank you for being just a bright light for us and sharing your thoughts and your feedback. And today was a day where the seniors went to the elementary schools and did grad walks, and that was awesome. They got on the buses and they tried to go to the school that they actually had gone to for elementary, but of course not all students had gone to school here, so they selected the school that they could go to. They came in the school, and I was at President's and we went over there, and the students at the elementary school lining up down the halls with pom-poms. And the seniors are wearing their caps and gowns, and the students were cheering them on, just saying, wow, this is where I'm headed. This is highlighting that, this is a goal that I have to graduate from my school. So that it was just really awesome. And then, of course, we have graduation, Weston tomorrow night, and then Arlington High School on Wednesday, and just excited to more celebrations. That's all I have.
Thank you. Director Kelly, legislative update.
I don't really have anything to add today. It's kind of quiet on the legislative front.
Okay, we'll hear more in the fall.
Oh, we will.
And next up is our comments for board members. We'll start with our student advisors. Alex, do you want to go first?
Of course. Right.
I feel like a speech is coming.
Good luck. I've had a pleasure being able to work beside you. Going to WASDA with you is really fun. And you have a great time. I'm very excited for our new student advisors to come join us. I'm excited to get to know you and have you up here. I'm just looking forward for next year and excited to hear about what your future holds for you.
Thank you, Alex. Okay, anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, sorry, I said that weirdly. Yeah, it's hard to believe I graduate tomorrow. I'm excited but also sad. I'm leaving a lot of great things behind. But I'm closing one chapter and walking into another. I think one of my favorite thing about this year is being able to fill the role of being a senior student advisor, and going to WASDA and all the board meetings and study sessions you guys taught me a lot. I love getting to know you guys, and I'll carry what you guys taught me with me and everything I do in life. And thank you.
Thanks, Maddie. Dr. Diamond.
Maddie. Maddie. Okay. Seriously though, it's been a pleasure working with you. I wish I had more energy to be more enthusiastic. I'm exhausted. Graduating tomorrow, I'll be there.
Yes.
No, congratulations. It's been amazing working with you. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, Director Diamond. Director Kelly, anything else to add?
Stop, Mary. I'm trying to like bite my tongue over here. Maddie's just been really great. Yes, we totally enjoyed you. And just remember, if you need any shopping help in Seattle, you know, gals are ready anytime. We're going to Spokane this year, but yeah, I've just enjoyed, I just have enjoyed over the course of my time on the board, getting to meet, and it's always so hard, it's so crushing, because every year like, oh my God, they're leaving me again. And they're, everyone's so special, and everyone's been really unique, and each person is bringing value to our board. And I appreciate that, you know, like, I can't, who was our guy last year? Who was my buddy by here? Nathan. And coming back, like. I know, I can totally see his name, dude. I'm with Kensal Light. Remember my own birthday. Anyway, I love hearing about, like, you know, like Nathan was saying, like there's this moment of like always reflecting on the time on my board meant something, and doesn't have to be everything, but just, we love to hear something of like that impacted me, and that you basically paid for it, and I know you will. So anyway, I would look forward to tomorrow, and yeah, it's been a pleasure being chair.
Thank you, Director Kelly. Director Knapp, what would you like to share with us tonight?
Well, Maddie. I just appreciate you so much. I think like it's not often that somebody comes along where we can like really nerd out on animal talk, and so thank you very much. I'm really proud of all the work that you've done, and as Sherry was saying, you know, bringing comments from Weston, and I have really appreciated that perspective as well. So I'm really excited to see you graduate tomorrow, and you're just doing amazing things. So we're all proud of you. Come back and visit anytime. Thank you. Do you want me to call?
You're good.
Director Watts so that-
Director Watts, anything you'd like to share tonight?
Maddie. So you might not cry, but I might, so sorry, but it's her too.
I'll pinch you.
I wish we had one more year with you. I got to see you grow from this hesitant person walking into something that they didn't know about to this leader. And I think that pivotal moment is WASDA, where we got to kind of go and have fun and be together and shop at Nordstrom, it's girl time, and going to see Wicked. And I just wish we had more time. But I love that you were the voice of Weston. It's not a school that I knew very well, so I got to feel like I knew a little more hearing about it, and what a great representation that they had here. Tracy. Thank you, Mom, for being here for pretty much every single board meeting with her. Parent support is huge. Thanks for getting us meals on those long study session school board days, but good job. We hope to see you every second and fourth Monday. Some just things prom, I think, happened between our last, and it looked like so much fun. I saw some really fun videos and such handsome young men and beautiful young ladies that got to attend. It was fun to celebrate the retiring staff. Hermindro taught every one of my boys, and there's a big age gap between the first and the middle, so it was kind of fun to see that he's had such an impact on not only my family, but the district. And I came back to still do tennis, so that's always awesome. Cross country, summer training starts Saturday, so yay. I'm excited. This is my favorite group. It's always hot in the summer, but they do it. And then it'll be my last cross country season, so I'm gonna try to enjoy it every moment. And I'm very excited to celebrate our graduates this week and go home here a little bit. It's our heart. Being able to sing with joy.
Maddie. Maddie, I've known you since you were very little, and you're very quiet and shy. And it has been such a joy to watch you blossom into this incredible leader that you are now. And I'm really looking forward to hearing you read your speech tomorrow night. And just so excited that your whole family's here to support you and love on you. And I know it's been a rocky journey, and you're not the only one that's struggled through the last several years. Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Just start blowing kisses. Kisses.
I just really appreciate your insights, and I think that you struggled just like everybody else has struggled through the pandemic and through those awkward teenage years, and just having your voice represent what our kids are going through now and what they need to help support their learning is absolutely essential. So I want to say thank you for speaking up and sharing your experiences and your concerns and what's working well, and just being a delightful human being and sharing horse stories. And it's been pretty great. Alex, it's been really incredible to watch you grow also into a senior advisor and go to Skills USA tournaments and speak, and you're just growing up so fast. And it's just so sad when they grow up. I am a senior. I was going to graduate the Wednesday. And I got to visit some elementary schools. Got to see Eagle Creek and Presidents last week and see these tiny little ones just starting their education journey, and just keeps reminding me how fast it's all going, and how we're all on this journey to learn and grow and become better people and to make the world a better place. I also got to go to Swing into Spring and got to have fun dancing. And did you know Vi can sing? Vi can sing. And got to go with the band on the last field trip for my son, where they went to Wild Waves on Saturday and competed and won some awards, and got very cold and wet during a very not fun day to be outside at Wild Waves. But just so proud of our kids and all of the wonderful activities and sports and competitions, and just the great opportunities our students have to be inspired to become better people. And if it wasn't for the band program, I don't know if my kid would be graduating, because that's what got him up and out the door every morning, was that need to be there. And I'm just so grateful for all the many, many thousands of people that have helped all of my kids through all the crazy stuff. And just feeling really joyful and grateful, and then sad that it's the end of a great chapter book. Many, many chapters of many, many books. It's really great to end on such a high note. I might just be crying for the next week or two. I wanted to share that we have a few different things that we'll be attending as a board. The next thing on everybody's schedule is tomorrow night. We have graduation for Weston. It's at 5:30 at the BPAT. That was and then on Wednesday, June 10th, is the Arlington High School graduation ceremony at 5 o'clock at Angel of the Winds Arena. And then we have our next study session. I should hopefully be done crying by then. On Monday, July 13th at 4 p.m. And then our regular meeting at 6 p.m. after that. We should always have babysitter meetings.
Perfect.
That's not clapping. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I would like to make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I second it.
It's been moved by Director Diamond and seconded by Director Kelly to adjourn the meeting. Director Diamond?
Yes.
Director Kelly?
Yes. I will say yes for Maddie.
Yes. Director Nutt?
Yes.
All right, meeting adjourned. Guys, stay.